Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Latonya Wilkerson and you are welcome. My channel is Seeds of Relentless Harvest. I have some messages for you, so let's get into it. These messages are either past, present, or future. Take as it resonates. If this is not your story, if this does not belong to you or concerning you, it's for someone that's close to you, somebody's next to you, or somebody that's surrounding you. Okay? Alright. So we have someone who's a hard worker, commissioner, governor, someone who is hard, dedicated, loyal worker. We have a craftsman that's involved, a businessman. Someone is getting ready to lose work. This is past, present, or future. Someone's getting ready to lose their position. Someone is carrying heavy burdens at this time. Someone feels like they are defeated. Somebody feels like they're going into poverty. Someone feels confused, conflicted. Something about falsehood. What do you mean? Falsehood. Messages. Something about falsehood. Give me clarity. Something about a law official. Something about lawsuit. Something about difficult. Something about money. Something about money losses. Something about a Cancer Scorpio. Something about Cancer Scorpio. A mother. A friend of the family. Family member. A friend from the past. Somebody's family member is involved with an officer, someone in law. Someone is remote viewing. Someone is tracking. Somebody is scrying. Somebody is smoking. Somebody is viewing. Someone is viewing. Someone is in the past, present, or future going to be viewing at a funeral. 1010. Something about the colors black and yellow. Something about the color red. Something about smoke. Something about smoke. Something about trains. Something about train tracks. Something about trails. Something about humping and hopping. Something about the letter T. Something about the letter I. Something about electricity. Something about something's hot. Something is heated. Something is melting away. Something is slipping through somebody's fingers. Somebody wants protection. Something about somebody old. Something about an old man, old woman. Something about gossiping. Something about Subway. Something about meeting up. Somebody said leave. Somebody said leave now. Somebody said leave now. Something about somebody's aunt. Something about an aunt and a family member, and something about a pregnancy. Something about water. Something about overseas. Something about a triangle. Something about something's messy. Something's messy. Something's mixed up. Something about official, something about a community, something about community crimes, something about tradition, something about justice system, something about church keys, something about red, something about something's red, something about black and gray, something about 911 emergency, something about a government, something about government in distress, something about a government official in distress, something about something was a cover-up, something about something lies, something about the community, something about something happened in the community with crimes. Oh my God. Something about the justice system, the judicial system, something about a church, something about a church and a pastor, something about a church and a pastor and a priest, something about somebody's keys, something about clouts, something about a closet, somebody's in the closet. Oh my goodness. Something about officials, a fisherman, something about a locksmith, something about, oh my goodness, something about obscurity, something about poverty, something about shame, something about derive, something about non-believing, something about beliefs. Oh my goodness. Something about somebody deleting evidence, something about chains, something about partnerships. Somebody said nope. Somebody said nope. Somebody said I'm leaving. Somebody said I'm not in this. Somebody said I'm not in this. Somebody's leaving. There's a group of men. Something about poisoning. Somebody got no words. Somebody said I'm not saying nothing. Somebody said I'm going to be silent. Somebody said I'm going to be still. Somebody said I'm leaving. Somebody said I'm done. What the hell? This is true. This is happening right now. This is true. This is the accurate reading. There's a baby. There's three different women, three different women, three different babies' mothers, three different baby mamas. Somebody wants an advancement. Somebody's demeanor is off. Something unexpected, a visitor, a proposition, something about a counterfeit contract, something about duplicate, something about fraud, something about it not being the original. Ooh, shit. Something about defeat, something about somebody's feet, something about somebody's hands, and something about somebody's hands, something about somebody's face, something has changed. Somebody's appearance have changed. Somebody is fed up. Something about the feds. Something about the feds. Someone from the past. Something about somebody about the past meeting up. Somebody's heavily burdened. Something about the higher ups. Something about the person and the higher ups. Something didn't go well. The investment did not go well. The plans didn't go well. Something failed. Something about an outsider. Somebody didn't belong. Somebody's fortune. Somebody's losing their fortune. Somebody's losing their house. Somebody's losing their home. Somebody's losing their stability. Somebody's going to have to continue to work hard. Something about dessert. Something about a dessert. Something about a dessert. Something about a baby. Something about a baby. Something about a baby who's not developing. Something about a baby who's not developing. Somebody needs to take their baby to the hospital. Somebody's baby is pale. Somebody's baby is pale. Something about black and white. Something about black and white. Something about somebody got a black eye. Somebody got a black eye. Something about somebody's nose. Something about somebody's ears. Something about the letter P. Something about the letter P. Something about peaches. Pumpkin. Piper. Okay, I'm getting ready to end this in a few minutes. Something about brown, the color brown. Somebody's name is brown. Something about the color brown. Something about the name brown. Somebody like bananas. Something about the letter M. Something about the letter M. Something about older man, younger child. Something about older man, younger child. Younger child, older man. M. Something about traveling. Something about traveling. Something about traveling. Letter T. Somebody's trying to find their direction. Somebody's trying to find a direction. Somebody's trying to find a direction. Somebody lost their way. Somebody lost their way. Somebody's drowning. Something about the letter J. Something about J, an older man and a younger person. Something about the letter J. Something about the name Juice. Something about juice. Juicy. Juicy. Something about justice. Something about jam. Something about jam. Something about jam. Something about the letter P and Pam. Something about the letter P and Pam. Something about the letter G. Gina. Gloria. Gina. Gloria. Gornet. Something about somebody being a goat. Something about somebody being a goat. Somebody's in despair. Something about the sun. Something about the sun. Something about a worm. Something about somebody being poisoned. That's the end. If you need to get any details about me or need to book any readings, my information will be in the description below. That's the end of the reading.